Hi, I'm Cameron Wilson and welcome to the Foundation for Rural and Regional Renewal podcast, where we feature the projects that are breaking down isolation and improving life in rural Australia. This week, it's Physically Fit, Mentally Fit. We're taking a look at some community-run projects that are getting small towns in much better shape and improving mental health in the process. A little bit later, a mental health advocate will explain just why regular exercise with others is so good for your mental well-being. But first, how to actually get community fitness programs happening with a little help from the FRRR. We all know that rural Australia does not have the best reputation when it comes to staying in shape. And Windorah, which is in Western Queensland, just on the edge of the Simpson Desert, well, Windorah is no exception. But a small group of locals have actually started working out regularly and they're getting excellent results. An FRRR small grant helped to set up a public gym that's based in the community hall. And the local police officer, Paul Jackson, who has a bit of fitness experience, he's taken on the role of trainer. Now, this started pretty small, some basic fitness training with just a handful of people. But as Paul explains, it soon started to catch on around town.
There was a core group of 6 of us that did it for 2 months with some significant results. With a couple of them had some really good results. And then other people started seeing, when they saw the results, before and after shots, because obviously seeing the same person over months, they couldn't really see the difference. Once they saw those differences, we got a group of 16 overnight.
Now, that's not bad for a town with a population that is not much more than 100 people. The FRRR grant was used to help buy an exercise bike, a rowing machine, some weights and some boxing equipment. And the gym has been set up with 24-hour access. That's because so many of the locals either work shifts or work long hours. Now, this has worked really well, and now Paul says interest around Windorah is so strong that he's actually planning more group workouts.
People tend to operate a lot better too, working as a group, doing boxing and sort of a CrossFit group going as well, building on core strength and that. Quite a few of the guys are really keen to engage in the boxing. They want to get in and do boxing training and whatever. So we'll do that. And the girls are really keen to do the core fit stuff. And they want to do self-defence as well. But we'll see about that one, how we go with that.
That's Paul Jackson, the police officer turned personal trainer in Windorah. You're listening to the FRRR podcast. This week the theme is Physically Fit, Mentally Fit, how a small grant can improve physical and mental health in rural towns. Coming up, you'll hear a bit more on why a program that is first and foremost about physical fitness can be a really effective way to address mental health issues in a community. But before we get to that, to New South Wales now, and a little town called Deepwater. Now, Deepwater's a farming town. It's got a school, it's got 2 pubs. It's about half an hour from Glen Innes, which is between Armidale and Tenterfield. In Deepwater, there's a program called Friends with Health Benefits. It's only just started, and Pamela Benton is running the project.
We got funding for 12 participants to work with a local organisation called Rural Fit, and they've done their first round of assessments, we're calling them, just to have a look at their current physical health state, do a few basic measurements and things. And for the 3 months following that, they'll work with Rural Fit remotely, so through phone calls and a little email chat group sort of thing that they have set up to improve on all of those things. So each of the participants has their own individual program that they're working on. And at the end of the 3 months, we'll all meet up again and do those same measurements again and just see how they've improved and see what things they'd like to work on from there.
So what, you keep the motivation that comes from being part of a group and also from having a personal coach, but take out the necessity to travel that might be a deterrent for some people?
Oh, absolutely. For a lot of people, the travel thing is a huge inconvenience. There are some services in Glen Innes that do a little bit of coaching and things like that, and it is good, but it's mostly the things that you sort of need to be there for, and that's where Rural Fit are really good, is that they can work remotely and still provide that accountability.
It's still early days, but what type of things, what type of activities will the participants be doing to improve their fitness?
It's quite simple things that they're focusing on. So Rural Fit just might be saying you need to go for a walk every day, or this much cardio, but it can be as simple as going for a walk or going for a ride on a horse or something like that. and really simple exercises that they are able to do at home, like it might be, load a few hay bales or something like that. Mm-hmm. Those sorts of simple.
So who did you have in mind when you started putting this program together or trying to get it up and running? Who was your stereotypical participant, if you like?
Our target audience was really farmers, but we did say we'd be happy to open it up to other people in the community. So pretty much it's the people in the rural area that would be able to benefit from that accountability.
It's still very early in the project, but what are your hopes for it at this stage?
I'm hoping that people are able to get those programs into place from Rural Fit that are easy to stick to. Use the services that Rural Fit provide them with, so for the accountability and to ask any questions while they're there for that 3-month period. And then I want them to be able to feel like they can be able to stick with that program after it ends. So stick with their fitness regime after the 3-month period ends, and just because they've seen benefits over the 3-month period. So they're still motivated to keep going.
Pamela Benton, the project manager for Friends with Health Benefits. Now that's a project that is primarily about improving physical health, but Pamela also told me that it's been created firmly with the view that physical and mental health are often complementary, and the participants, they have access to mental health services too. Mental health advocate Alison Fairleigh says they've got it exactly right in Deepwater, and she should know. Not only does she live with mental illness, but she also works in mental health support in drought-hit parts of rural Queensland. She's the area manager at the Mental Health Fellowship in North Queensland.
Most GPs will say to you today that a daily walk, of 30 minutes is the equivalent of taking one antidepressant pill. So I know in my own personal journey, I don't take antidepressant or any kind of medication anymore. I swap that for going for a walk every day. Now, I'm not a fit person, and people who know me know that. However, my walking is what keeps me mentally fit and keeps me mentally healthy. We have to, however, I see in rural areas, particularly amongst our men, that they think, well, I do physically hard work all day, I'm fit. But that's a completely, a wrong way of thinking. It's a wrong track to go down, because that's actually work. That's not getting away from work, having a break and giving your body and your mind the opportunity to do something that's different from your daily routine. And that's why physical activity is really important.
When you're in your work where you see people dealing with the pressures of drought, how often is maintaining physical health one of the first things that actually goes?
It's more often than not, it's the one thing that does go.
We've just heard of a project that's trying to break down isolation and stop isolation being a deterrent to physical activity. If you can combine the two, physical exercise, improving your physical health, and being part of a community, even if that's in a virtual sense over the phone or on the internet, is that almost a double benefit?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If you can have that connection, so you know that A, you're accountable to somebody, B, somebody's actually checking in on you, you have almost got that online community as well. So it could be a phone call, it could be through a Skype session, it could be through a Facebook group where you're keeping each other on tabs of how you're going for the week. You've set goals. How do you achieve the goals? What have been the barriers to achieving those goals? And suddenly you've got people who've come together around a single point of interest. And through that, friendships develop. You start to see things in a new light. So one of the best things about meeting new people is we get to get outside our own mind frame. Often our mind frame can be very set, it can be very narrow, and it could have led to the reasons why we've developed, some poor habits in our life. Once we get encouraged by other people around us and see how they're, coping with difficulties in their life every day, it starts to encourage us to think outside the box and find new ways of doing things. And that's a really positive outcome.
So would it be fair comment that in a time of drought when so much is out of a community or an individual's control, that maybe organising something like a community get-together or starting a fitness group or a community fitness program would be a really good thing for a community to do, that they can actually have some kind of control over.
Absolutely. You know, one of the things that we say to people all the time, there's so much that is out of your control. What can you control? Let's focus on that. And the things that we can control are choices around what time we get up in the morning, when we go for a walk, when we exercise, what we put into our mouths, what we don't put into our mouths. So just controlling those smaller things on a day-to-day level can help us get through one day at a time. And having a group that can support you to do that makes it 10 times better.
Alison Fairleigh on the mental health benefits of physical activity. Alison touched on community events there too, and why getting together is important. If you're interested in that, there's a lot more on the FRRR website. You can actually hear about community events in Windorah in outback Queensland and how community events there has helped during the drought. That's the FRRR podcast for today. In our next edition, how programs that are developed with the aim of helping kids during drought actually do a lot to take the pressure off parents too. Join me next time for that. In the meantime, there's lots of other information on the FRRR website. I'm Cameron Wilson. We'll catch up again soon.